When you think of millionaires, what comes to mind? Mansions, exotic cars, opulent lifestyles?
We too were under that illusion until a revelation that changed everything.
What we discovered about being millionaires not only shook us to our cores, but also made us realize that we shared sentiments with, of all people, Dr. Evil from Austin Powers. More on that later.
Our discoveries about being a millionaire is controversial and opposite to everything we have been taught. But once you understand this, it will be the key to unlocking your true long-term wealth.
Before we go any further, let's have a brief pause for science and history lessons that will eventually lead us to our understanding of economics. Learning is fun, right?
Well, we think so. So anyways, when we think about glacier, you might imagine a massive unchained sheet of ice, much like many people envision their saving. Static and sturdy.
But with effects of climate change, many glaciers are slowly but steadily receding, losing its mass and size. And if you've ever seen the movie Ice Age, you know that's not great.
You know, that's kind of like how inflation works. Is this slow chipping away at the value of money as time goes on? It's kind of like when a glacier slowly moves back, and you might not really notice it in the moment, but over a bunch of years, bam, you see a big change.
Same thing with inflation, right? It might not hit you right away, but give it time and you'll definitely feel the impact on your money's worth.
The crazy thing too is that just decades ago, having millions of dollars was a distinctive mark of wealth and affluence.
Unfortunately, due to some little thing called inflation, those days are gone. Now, we aren't saying that being a millionaire is a bad thing, far from it, but it just won't take you as far in 2023 as it did in 2003 or 1993.
Back in the day before the 1900s, the US didn't see much inflation action. The dollar's buying power was pretty steady, right? They had these gold and silver standard that kind of kept prices in check.
But then the 20th century rolled in and things got a bit wild. The Federal Reserves popped up in 1913, the gold standard got ditched in the 1930s, and major economic events happened.
All these things shook up how money and inflation work in the US and how it evolved in history. If you look at data from the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, it has some interesting stats for us.
Back in 1913, a single dollar could get you things that in 2021 would cost you more than $26. Wrap your head around that, right? Basically, the US dollar has lost its mojo, and it's down more than 96% in terms of what it can buy in just over 100 years.
That's actually really insane and a little depressing if you think about it. The value of our currency lost over time.
Here's another way to look at it. Back in 1933, you can use one single dollar to snag 10 bottles of beers. But jump to the present day, that same dollar would struggle to get you even a small cup of coffee at McDonald's. Time really has changed, huh?
Look, it's no secret that today's capitalist jazz encourages consumerism.
If you were like us and you were alive in the 1990s, times were simpler. Somehow we survived without our latest iPhone, tracking our workout on an Apple's app, analyzing our sleep cycle on our Oura Rings. Yeezy sneakers weren't a staple in our closets, and Instagram-worthy overwater bungalow vacations was unheard of.
So it makes us think about what's really essential. And no matter how you look at it, housing is truly essential. The problem right now is that there's a lot of unpredictability in the housing market.
Of course, it's impossible to predict the future, so a fear of a recession or a general economic downturn or uncertainty is leaving us all feeling uneasy, to say the least.
Now, hang on a minute. We're just talking about, the millionaire lifestyles of glamour and luxury with all the accommodating goods. In an age of social media and influencer, it can be hard to really even know what's normal anymore.
In fact, social media puts so much pressure on us that some influencers resort to even fake posts, buying their followers, and other desperate measures. And if you thought about pressure even on your career titles.
Think about it. A doctor should drive a doctor's car and live in a doctor's mansion. The endless search for more is as exhausting as it is defeating.
So this brings us to one of our favorite topics, hustle culture. Oh man, the stress, right? You know what we're talking about, the grind of the modern day hustle as you swap out hours of your time and energy for what honestly feels like pennies.
Look, this common exchange of more time, energy, and skill for a paycheck is not only draining, it's downright unsustainable.
And when you think about it, life is too short. When you pour your heart and soul into something, you want it to be something that gives you true passion and purpose and something that you care about, not just because you're chasing your next meal or to make your rent payment.
Believe it or not, this struggle affects income levels of all kinds, even millionaires. And not only it is physical toil, it's also emotionally drained too.
But imagine a world in which your money works for you instead of the other way around. This is where your asset ownership comes in.
You see, asset takes a variety of shapes and size, anywhere from real estate to business or to intellectual properties, and they all have the power to generate income without direct oversight. Wow, what a change.
We don't need to tell you that life-changing difference between constantly chasing and gracefully accumulating while earning income, of course, is essential, especially in the early stage of one's career. The true long-term prosperity and financial peace lies in nurturing the expanding assets.
Remember when we mentioned Dr. Evil at the beginning of the episode? Well, we're gonna bring it full circle as we remember the moment from the scene where he had an evil gecko as he described his plan to hold the world ransom for, wait for it,
$1 million.
This humorous scene from Austin Powers strongly connects with the present-day financial environment.
the antagonist, Dr. Evil, who is drastically disconnected from the current time due to his background in the 1960s, attempt to demand a ransom from global governments.
As number 2 endeavors to explain to Dr. Evil that $1 million no longer hold the same level of impressiveness as it once did in the past.
You see, guys, when you strip away the comedic value of the movie, it's actually a super sobering reflection of our times. While reaching the milestone of becoming a millionaire is glorified by both in pop culture and individual accomplishment, the reality carries a nuanced complexity.
In face of inflation eroding purchasing power and the steep escalation in contemporary lifestyle costs, the distinction of being there doesn't wield the same formidable financial impact as it once did.
Don't get us wrong, it's definitely given us an aura of grandeur, but it falls short of ensuring the lavish way of life, or more clearly, the sought-after financial liberation that many aspires to.
Just like Dr. Evil had to quickly learn to adapt his financial outlooks, we too could benefit from redefining the notion of wealth. Some of us have already grasped that shift.
We understand that merely reaching the $1 million goal might not ensure an endless, cushy existence.
In fact, it could be just a starting stride of the extensive journey towards authentic financial autonomy. While the allure of hitting the $1 million benchmark is tempting, but maybe it's time to bring the aim a little bit higher.
After all, we wouldn't want to repeat the same endearing yet misguided blunder as our beloved movie villain, right?
Now you understand why millionaires aren't as rich as you think. You need to learn how to make money more valuable, and you can do so by watching this video.